13 days. I have lots of books, but only a fraction of them live on these two bookshelves. Now, I picked up these bookshelves from CV2 a couple of years ago. I like them because, one, they're on wheels and they're really sturdy, so there's no sagging here with the weight of the books. Including the top of the bookshelf, there are 5 shelves, and I'm going to show you all what I have on each of those shelves. At the top of one of the shelves, I have a guillotine. I talked about the guillotine in one of my homeschooling videos. I absolutely swear by this thing, but I have to keep it out of the way. I also have a microphone, and this is a box that a bottle came in, and I'll show you what that bottle looks like in a moment. At the top of this shelf, I just have some art supplies, and I'm not going to take all that stuff down. All right, so let's get started. Now, this is the bookshelf that is on the left-hand side. I have my books in alphabetical order based on the author's last name. If I have more than one book from a particular author, I would then put the book in alphabetical order. I know what you're thinking, but Shug, I'm sitting here looking at some of your books and I can see that some are out of order. And there may be a few that's out of order because sometimes I'll pick up a book and then, I may not necessarily put it back where it belongs. You will also see that I have a lot of Octavia Butler books. I believe I have almost all of her books, although all of them are not shown here. Now, I have read most of the books that are on this shelf, and some of them I have attempted to read, but they were just a bit much. For example, Bastard Out of Carolina. As you can see, I stopped here. It was a lot. I don't even remember what was happening, but I remember I didn't like what was happening, so I kind of stopped reading and I just never went back to it. I also had a hard time with this book right here, Brothers and Sisters, and one of my good friends, she was just like, will you please stop trying to read this book? I've been trying to read this book for years, and every time she would ask me what I'm reading and I would say, oh, I picked up Brothers and Sisters again, she would just be like, girl, just cut it out. Now, as we move over here, I have 2 copies of the Souls of Black Folk, and I have a copy here of Gemini from Nikki Giovanni. I know what you're thinking, but surely that looks like a library book. And that is because someone gave this to me. This is from an old school, Woodrow Wilson High School. And I'm not sure how I ended up with the book. I swear I didn't steal it or just never returned it. It just somehow ended up in my possession in the right way. Like they may have had like a sale or something was happening, but I ended up with the book because someone gave it to me. All right, let's move on to the next bookshelf, but on the same level. Here we have Simon the Sloth. So let's just move him out the way for a minute. And here are the books that I have here on this shelf. You know what's interesting? When you start looking at your books, you realize how many books are missing. And I'm not sure if they're missing because they're inside of a container or because I let someone use it and they never gave it back, which is probably a little bit of both. What is this here? Oh, this is a bookmark. I did NaNoWriMo, which is the National Novel Writing Month. I did it 2 years in a row a couple of years ago, and I was able to write 2 full books. One of the books, I'm almost done with the edits and things like that, and I just can't wait for it to be released to the world. I'm very, very proud of it. Anyway, here are the books that are on this shelf. Out of all the books here, I think the book that probably stands out the most is this one. When I tell you, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it's funny. Like, I remember just literally laughing out loud, and then there were some points in the book where it just took a turn, and I was like, what is really happening here? It's wild. It's wild. All right, now we're back on the other bookshelf, and as you can see, I have the book stacked this way. I like to mix it up a little bit just to give a little bit of visual interest here. Now, let's see what we have going on. Now here, this sweet girl lives on my bookshelf. I believe it's an alpaca. It might be a llama. I'm not sure. But regardless, I love llamas and alpacas. And she lives on the bookshelf. Also on the bookshelf is this box that contains puzzle pieces that have a message. One of my most dear friends in the whole wide world gave this to me. Oh gosh, it's been over 10 years, maybe 11, 12, 13 years. Also on the bookshelf, I was late to the whole Twilight series, but I loved it. And what was funny is I read the 50 Shades of Grey books first, and then I read these and realized that the 50 Shades of Grey book was a fanfic of these books right here. I was totally blown away, and I was even more annoyed at the 50 Shades of Grey book. Now, one of my new favorite authors in the whole wide world is Daniel Older. I discovered him on Twitter. Some lady was trying to comfort him about a whole medical license, and then he pulled out the medical license, and I was like, oh, okay, well, who is this person? And then I saw some of his work, and I was like, wow, his writing is amazing. And as you can see, I have a lot of his books. Now, I do have some of his books in digital format. Now, let me tell you something about this book right here, The Shadow Shaper. You see this cover? My 6-year-old was completely obsessed with this woman on this cover. I don't know what it is about this, but she was obsessed. And I guess, representation really matters, because I think she saw her and somehow saw herself. On to the next bookshelf. So this is a print that was sent to me from one of the boos in the Gucci store. I had picked up a Gucci bag like a couple of years ago, and I was torn between this bag and the bag that I picked up. And so she sent me this print in the mail. Like, girl, come and get this bag. And I'm like, girl. Anyway, also on the shelf is a picture from my baby shower with a mini boo. So that is one of my sisters, my other sister, and my oldest son. I know what you're thinking, but Shug, why you don't have the other people in your family on the shelf? I don't know why. They just happen to be in the picture frame, and that picture frame lives on my shelf. Anyway, so here are the books that live on this shelf. These books here had me shook, and that's all I'm going to say about that. This book right here, Only Twice I've Wished for Heaven, actually does not belong to me. It belongs to a friend of mine, and I've had this book for a number of years, and the next time I see her, I'm going to give her this book. If you follow me on Twitter, I was talking about Zane. Do you guys remember Zane? And Addicted. Do y'all remember that? And Shame on It All. This book was a mess, y'all. All right, let's move on down. I have this vintage camera. These are some of the artsy sort of books, how to make sort of books, and I just have them grouped here. And I have these shoes here. If you have been with me for a while, like years, you remember these shoes. I don't wear them anymore because they are dangerous, and they were dangerous then, but they're really dangerous now in my older age. But I think they're beautiful. They work well on this shelf, and I plan on keeping them there, at least for now. On this shelf here, I have some books about crystals. I have a lot of crystals. I could probably do a video on crystals because I have so many of them. And I have some notebooks. You can never have too many notebooks. I have some messages in a bottle. Remember that chest that I showed you a few moments ago? This came in there. Or was it this? One of them came in there. And of course, there's a sign here that my mom gave to me that says, I love that you're my daughter. Now, something else actually goes right here, but I removed it because of this video. Some things would probably just cause too much controversy, so I moved it. I know what you're thinking, but Shug, now I really want to see what it is. And I'm just, nope, we're not doing it. Are you still hanging in there? Because we're almost finished. Now I am at the bottom shelf. This particular artwork is from a sister named Dita Montana. If I remember, I will put her link down below in the description. This shelf contains some reference type of books that I sometimes use. I know what you're thinking, but Shug, why do you have a DSM-4? That is because I used to be a mental health therapist. Yeah. I know what else you're thinking, but Shug, is that a flute book? And it absolutely is. Do you remember these for those who play instruments from like way back in the day, or if you just recently started playing the instrument? Do you remember these? Now on to the last shelf. I do apologize for the angle that I have here, and I don't want to hold the camera because I don't want all the camera movement. Now here we have some picture books. This book right here has not been opened yet, and it is a Flu Vlog 50th anniversary book. I love Flu Vlog shoes, and I have loved Flu Vlog shoes since D-Light's Groove is in the Heart. Do you remember that? From way back in the, what was that, like the early 90s? Another fun fact is Flu Vlog celebrated their 50th anniversary earlier this year, and I was able to snag a pair of limited edition Flu Vlog. And also on the shelf live some of my vinyl. So here we have Michael Jackson's Off the Wall, probably one of the greatest bodies of work to ever do it, and it's still in very good condition. Now, one of my favorites is, let me see if I can find it. Oh, Prince. Oh, Sharon Jones. Break for Love. Do you all remember that? If I can remember, I will put a link to this song in the description. Oh wait, I have some more books over here. So some reference material. Love this book right here. And you're like, but Shug, what is that? This is a gecko that I need to put back on the wall. So that is it. Wait, before I go, let me just big up a couple of people. So this pendant came from Rayo and Honey. Love, 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 love her work. And this Let the Work Speak just literally speaks to me. It speaks to me. This chair came from World Market. It is the Peacock chair. And this pillow is from Rachel Stewart. Love her work as well.